We live in a visual culture, as you all know. It's all social media, it's cell phones. That's just the culture we're living in, right? We are constantly saturated with visuals. Videos boost engagement and retention for your social media, your SEO, Google, whatever you have, right? So video content captures attention far more effectively than text or static images. It increases time spent on websites, which is important for search engine optimization, all those things, right? It improves social media engagement, and it's easier to recall, making it perfect for communicating key messages clearly and memorably. Number 2 is videos enhance brand credibility too, right? So if you have a business, you have a brand. What's your style? What's your message? What are all these things about your business? And every video, every piece of content, whether video or image or text or whatever, needs to reflect your brand, right? And so a well-produced video can humanize a brand, right? If you have, all the time, I'm looking at different pages on social media. I'm looking at different businesses and all that stuff. If I don't see something like human about it, I'm less likely to engage with them, right? So I want to see the owner. I want to see people that are working for this business that really care for me and care about what I do, right? So you showcase real people and tell authentic stories. Whether it's a customer testimonial, behind the scenes look, or a product demo, video builds trust and establishes authority in a crowded market, right? And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to building trust, right? If someone sees you on camera talking about what you do, why you do it, and why you're the best at what you do, you're going to immediately establish credibility with them, right? And we'll talk about funnels later, but this also has to do with authority funnels, right? So have you guys seen these, I'm gonna kind of go behind the veil for a minute. Have you seen these rant videos that I do on social media? I started doing this because I was ticked off about artificial intelligence a year and a half ago, right? We were just talking about artificial intelligence, and I've kind of changed a little bit on since that video to a certain degree. But every single one of these videos that I've posted, one in particular, which I've talked to Cassie about, one video was how you can create videos for yourself, for your business, using CapCut, things that we're going to talk about in a little bit, right? I had 3 businesses reach out to me from that video on how you can create videos for yourself. These businesses asked me to create videos for them. Okay? And I was like, did you watch the video? Because like that's the opposite of what I was saying. Every one of these videos that I've posted, at least one person or business will reach out to me and ask about my rates or ask about doing a video, okay? This is an authority funnel, right? This is me talking as someone who has been doing this for years. Am I perfect? Do I know everything? Absolutely not. But I know a lot more than the next person, right? So it caused people, me ranting about AI and telling you how to create video, caused people to be like, hey, yo, you can make a video for me. That's wild, right? So it enhances all of these things. It adds brand credibility. It gives you authentic stories, a behind the scenes look, all of these different things that you can do, but it builds trust and establishes authority. One of the companies that I work with, Hart Trailers, she had someone, the marketing director had someone tell her, if you can establish a relationship with them, if you can start showing the behind the scenes of your business, this is what we do, this is why we do it, it will begin to establish trust with the potential customer. And once you have trust, they will buy, right? So you have to develop trust before anyone will ever buy or purchase, right? That is key. So the third reason, and I'll try to breeze through this, video drives conversion and sales. I've had so many client testimonials that we've done, and I have more on the list that we're going to do on how video has caused more sales for different particular businesses. One in particular, you can see my friend Weston Dehart with Willowbrook Construction. We do a lot of videos with Willowbrook. He used a parking garage video in a pitch for a giant hospital that they were pitching, right? They were like, are you going to bid for the parking garage? And he's like, oh, I didn't realize I was up for bid. He showed this video, this build video, and that helped him book this giant gazillion-dollar hospital. And he says that on camera, by the way. So product videos, explainer videos, and service walkthroughs help customers understand offerings better and make buying decisions faster, often leading to directly more sales and inquiries, right? So the more you show off what you do, your testimonials, your products, whatever, the more people are going to be like, hey, I want to learn more about you. According to WordStream, companies that use video marketing grow their revenue 49% faster than those that don't. Video helps move prospects through the funnel more efficiently. So per Wise Owl's video marketing report, 88% of marketers say videos give them a positive return on investment. 88%, that's pretty legit, right? Okay, so here's the goal for today. We're gonna breeze through this because I'm already rambling, okay? The goal is to encourage y'all to think visually, okay? So when you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, what are the videos that you're scrolling through? What are the ones that are stopping you, right? That's very important. So think about those things. I want you to be able to spot bad videos and bad editing, right? So when you're scrolling, what's the ones, again, what are the ones that are grabbing your attention? And what are the ones that are just, they're not worth watching, right? And this is very important too, I put it in parentheses, but bad editing equals bad storytelling. And if your content looks bad, you also look bad, right? So if you're putting out low quality bullcrap content or something really quick that clearly looks just thrown together, that reflects on your business. Is this how you treat your business? So how to create basic videos for your business, we're also gonna talk about this too, okay? We're gonna breeze over that so quickly. Please tell me if I'm like what time we're at and all that stuff throughout this. And I want you to think about strategy too. So it's not just we're gonna put some content out, it's intentionality behind the videos that you put out too, okay? So what is the strategy behind this video? Okay, so here's a visual exercise. We're gonna breeze through a couple clips, right? So we have a series of 2 one-minute clips. I'm gonna show you good editing, first I'm gonna show you bad editing, then I'll show you good editing, okay? The first edit will have common editing mistakes. The second will be the corrected version, and you can tell me if it feels better. And that's the right terminology too. Does it feel better, right? Because we're really attacking people's emotions, right? So we're gonna talk about pacing. We are not gonna talk about audience. These are different editing aspects. We're not gonna talk about editing to context. We are gonna talk maybe about relevance. I might skip that one. And then interest, okay? So I did a talk in front of 150 dentists in Massachusetts about 3 years ago, right? These are all multi-million-dollar business. They have practices that are huge, right? But they had problems with, why isn't my content online converting? Why isn't it doing anything? Well, you weren't thinking about all these different aspects of your content, right? Who is your audience? Or have you given them any context? Is your pacing off? Or do you have a hook at the very beginning? Are people attracted to what you're putting out? Relevance, is it relevant to the people that you're promoting it to? And interest, does it keep people sucked in, right? So I talked about all these things. It's online. If you want that full talk, I can send it to you. Just send me a message, okay? So here's pacing. I'm gonna give you a crappy edit and you tell me what's wrong with it, then I'll play the corrected version, okay? This is, I enjoy this type of stuff, okay? So, okay, here we go.
A heart trailer is more than just a trailer. It's a trailer built from the ground up by hard-working Americans. It's a trailer to keep the animal you love safe and secure. It's a trailer that lasts from new beginnings to happy endings. For the passion of what you do and the confidence to get you there. From our hands to your heart.
Transition too fast. You couldn't see one image.
That's
You
it.
couldn't focus on any one thing.
Pacing went shoop, right over people's heads. It was so fast, right? So if you're scrolling on Facebook, you run across this video and it's an ad, you're like, what the heck just happened? You know what I mean? Did you see a bunch of heart trailer logos? Yeah. Might you put a hyperlink or something so people can click and go to their website? Yeah. But are you going to buy a trailer off of this? No, absolutely not. So what you have to do, slow it down. Even part of their brand, Heart Trailer is all about storytelling, slowing the world down a little bit, right? So if you go to their page right now, a lot of the videos that Heart Trailer puts out are longer. They're gonna be like 5+ minute videos, right? Because we wanna tell stories. So this is an ad, this is the corrected version, and you tell me how it feels, okay?
A heart trailer is more than just a trailer. It's a trailer built from the ground up by hard-working Americans. It's a trailer to keep the animal you love safe and secure. It's a trailer that lasts from new beginnings to happy endings.
How does it feel? Better, right? So in front of all these dentists, they're dentists. I said, how's that feel? And everyone's like, wow, that's so much better. I said, who wants to buy a Hart trailer? Every one of them raised their hand. You think they all have horses? No. So everyone raised their hand. So that's the thing though. It touched the heart. It slowed down a little bit. So this is also proof that not all fast, crazy hype videos are beneficial. Sometimes it's the slower videos that tell the story that will give the impact, right?
I feel like you miss a lot in the first one, like the scene where the red and blue lights are going.
Yeah.
I know what was happening.
Yeah, what was happening?
Yeah, well, like,
Exactly.
And so when it slowed down and I was like, oh, that was an accident, they're showing how safe it is.
Yep.
I mean, I know he said safe in the video, but it actually showed and like
Exactly.
grabbed your attention, like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe that is a good trailer, you know?
Exactly.
I wanted it for my horse.
There you go. I got a number. Oh, there you go. Yeah, we might need a
There's
horse.
still a lot of stories in one little commercial. The safety effect.
Yes.
The generational thing that looked like your
Yeah.
mom there for a
That was my mom.
second. That's
That's an easy hire right there.
You know, because it's generational, this is going to be years later.
Yes.
With the granddaughter right
Yep.
there.
And that's part of their story.
A whole lot of tubs in there to your heart.
Yep.
Except if you have that heart failure.
Yep.
It's going to be there forever.
And that's the important thing too, as you're thinking about creating content for yourself. And part of my job as a owner of a video production company, is to think about the brand aspects. They are generational trailers. Tracy says all the time, this trailer will bring you into adulthood, right? So if you raise kids that are into horses and all that stuff, they can pull that trailer later on in their life because it's going to last that long, right? So that's so many different aspects to that. Okay, so relevance. So we talked about pacing. We're skipping a whole bunch of different aspects about editing and storytelling, okay? But this is relevance, and I'll be really quick on this too, but this is a video we did. This is also with Hart Trailer, with Amberly Snyder, okay? Amberly is a paraplegic barrel racer. Amazing friend, love her very much. This first video, I want you to tell me what's off with it, okay? So think about the content that you're seeing. Is it relevant to what she's saying? Okay, so let's watch this one. And first, before we do that, I'll quickly say A-roll versus B-roll. Okay, so in a documentary sense, okay, you have A-roll, which is your interview content. So if you have someone sit in front of the camera and they're talking about a story or they're telling the story, that's your A-roll. Okay, B-roll doesn't mean that it's B in terms of like this is not as important, right? It means that this B-roll is above the A, okay, but the B-roll is really what tells the story. Right? So it's visually, if I'm talking about this, that, or the other, you show this, that, or the other, right? So let me give you just a quick example so we're all on the same page. This is a video from Tanzania that we shot.
In Africa, we have a lot of culture.
A-roll, this is B-roll.
We have native beliefs that people have their own.
So this is content you're cutting to that is different from what he's talking about, okay? So, but usually, and what you should do is edit to what he's talking about. So if he's talking about something, you are showing that something, okay? So here's relevance. Think about what you're seeing.
You know, it hits you that the last time you were here, you were walking. I sat at that door and just cried. I told my mom, sell my horses. I'm not going to do this anymore. My whole life that I had planned on, that I had worked for, is now done. I described myself on what I won, on what I accomplished, on what buckle came. Like, this was my value. This is who I am. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. So if I can do that, then who am I? We still don't even talk about how dark that was. That was one of the hardest moments, but also one of the...
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and skip it. Keeps going for a little bit. What was wrong with this? She's talking about how she lost everything. She can no longer ride anymore. She lost the use of her legs. Everything about her life was based around barrel racing, right? What was wrong with the visuals that you just saw?
It didn't give you the start.
Yeah.
What happened? What caused us to get here?
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't tell the backstory.
Half of it was hurt on a horse. Talking about not being able to ride.
There you go. That's it.
She's
on the horse.
You put
Yeah.
two together.
Yes.
To start out.
Yes.
She was strapped on pretty good, so she had to have a lot of help.
There you go. So that's the thing though, right? So in the edit, we show the backstory right before this. Then we go to this sequence where we actually took her to her room, which brought back all of these emotions. We weren't even planning to do this. We'd met her at her old house, and here she is sitting in her old bedroom where all of those emotions started flooding in, right? Can you imagine? You just lost the use of your legs, and that was your everything. You can't, if you know how to ride a horse, legs are very important, right? But I'm showing in this edit her on a horse. It looks pretty, it's golden hour, but it doesn't work, right? So let's watch the fixed version. Crap, let's maybe not.
You know, it
There you
hits you that the last time you were here, you were walking. I sat at that door and just cried.
Okay, this is the wrong one. It's that one, thank you.
The last time you were here, you were walking. I sat at that door and just cried.
Here's all her buckles.
I told my mom, sell my horses. I'm not going to do this anymore. My whole life that I had planned on, that I've worked for, is now done. I described myself on what I want, on what I accomplished, on what buckle came. Like, this was my value. This is who I am. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. So if I can do that, then who am I? We still don't even talk about how dark that was. That was one of the hardest moments, but also one of the coolest moments in the sense of as I was sitting, really like where you are, and I had a prompting blue behind me, my scripture just sitting by my bed, and a prompt to open them up. And not only had I bookmarked, but I'd highlighted scripture right before I left. That is Luke 1:37. It is with God nothing is impossible.
So all of this, these are her buckles, these are her awards, all the things that was her value in life. And she had lost all of those things, right? So show all of this stuff, right? Don't show her on a horse. She's talking about how she can't do that. So relevance. So when you're editing your videos, and we're going to get into how do you create content now, okay? When you're editing your videos, think about the content that you're showing, right? It's not just about pretty visuals at all. It's about the content. What's going to have the emotion? What's telling the story, okay? So how to create content. 3 things that you need. 1 is a camera. Shocker. 2, an editor. We'll talk about editors. And 3, a strategy. You think you guys could figure those 3 things out? I think so. Probably. So camera. One option that you could use right here, right now, and I did a video on this. You can go look on Facebook. Your cell phone. Everyone has a cell phone, right? You can use a smartphone. Or you can use a DSLR. Right? So a little camera you can buy at Walmart. My first camera, I used to do camp videos. We used to go to Falls Creek all the time. And I bought this 720p, $200 freaking camera from Walmart. And I used that for years, right? And then my upgrade was a DSLR from Target, Canon T3i, great camera. I used that when I started my business. I used that to get me through film school. And then as we started progressing, I bought some eBay cameras, Sony A7S2s, and I used those for about 3 or 4 years. And that got me through tons of commercials and documentaries. That video you just saw with Amber Lee, those were eBay used Sony cameras, because that's all I could afford at the time. So a DSLR. Let's talk about DSLR. Okay, so there's some things that we need to talk about, okay? When you get your phone out, you can just start videoing, right? There are little aspects that you can change, but let's specifically talk about for a DSLR. So if you have a camera, who has a camera, like a photography camera in here? Okay. So and does it have video capability? Okay. So if you want to use your DSLR, you go in and you can adjust all these different aspects about the video. A lot of times people just go to the auto setting and push record. I encourage you, don't do that. You can, but I think you could probably learn a little bit more, okay? And oftentimes too, YouTube is such a huge help. So look up your camera and you can look up all the different aspects on how to create videos with your camera, and you can learn all these things, okay? So who can tell me though what frame rate is? These are going to be the basics of camera settings. We are not going to go into the crazy details. I promise you, it's insane. Astronomical, the amount of details that you can go into about cameras, and you can talk about different kinds of camera, cinema cameras. In a minute, we'll talk about shutter speed versus shutter angle, all kinds of different aspects to cameras. Who can tell me what frame rate is, though? Anyone? Frame rate? Bugler? Frame rate refers to motion picture. So you ever made those little flip books where you draw a picture and it kind of moves a little bit? So when you flip it, it looks like it's motion, right? So literally what a video camera is doing is it's taking pictures however many times a second, right? So it's pretty cool. It's actually really cool how it works. When you have that many pictures, your eyes don't perceive it as photos, it perceives it as motion, right? So it's motion picture. It's a series of images that when played in order, the viewer's eyes perceive motion. At how many, here's a quiz, how many frames per second, so how many images in 1 second does it take for the human eye to perceive motion? Anyone?
It's like about 24.
It's right there. 24 frames per second is the standard for film. So originally, whenever we started making movies, people were like, man, it looks really jittery. How do we make it not look so jittery? They found that 24 frames per second is the standard. And that's the filmic look now, by the way. So a lot of movies you'll see have a different feel. That's because it's shot in 24 frames a second. So our eyes perceive motion at 24 frames. Let's look at a couple differences, though. So for different formats, like for film, you'll have 24 frames. For TV, you'll have 30 frames per second. For soap operas, 60 frames. There's a bunch of reasons why. Oftentimes, we can also break this down and really talk about why, but 2997 is really the standard for TV, and it uses interlaced pixels instead of progressive pixels. And if you talk about interlaced, it's way easier to send a signal in interlaced format because it only takes this pixel, and then it guesses what the next pixel is going to be, and then it sends the next pixel, and then so we could talk about that stuff all day. We're not going to do that, okay? That's super nerdy, and I love that crap. Okay, so TV's 30, soap operas are 60. Let's actually look and see if you can tell the difference. You might not be able to with this, but here's a movie.
Or asleep, or lying in the wellness spending.
What movie is this, by the way? Anyone?
Imagine you're designing a movie.
What?
Consciously creating.
Anyone?
Inception.
Inception. Good. So there's a certain look to that. Here's a TV example. One of the greatest shows of all time. Okay, so that has a different look, right? And then you have soap operas.
I've never been more okay in my life.
Can you tell the difference? You can, if you really focus, right? Now, there are like stylistic differences too with the lighting, right? Soap operas are gonna be very evenly lit, and it annoys the crap out of me. TVs, depends on the TV show, right? Film, you're gonna have more dramatic lighting, right? But you're also gonna have this feel that's gonna be 24 frames per second. Okay, so there's frame rate. So you can actually go on your phone and just go to your camera settings, and you can select 24 frames, or you can select 30 frames. Is anyone on Facebook going to care what you shot it in? No, they're not. Do I care? Yes. Am I very particular of how we shoot things depending upon the application? Yes. Why? Because some films are for earthly dwellings, which are going to be posted, they're going to be played on social media, and they're going to be played on a big screen. And some films we do are going to be played on TV. I can't shoot 24 frames per second for TV because the standard is 30 frames, 2997. So I'm shooting with intention for TV at that point, okay? So we are very particular on what the application for the video is. Okay, so shutter speed and shutter angle. You will see these little numbers on your camera. You'll see 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, you can change that. Then you'll see these little numbers, and it'll be like 1/50, or 1/1000, right? Or whatever that is. What the heck are these things? This is shutter speed, okay? And I'm not gonna get into the details of what it is, but I will tell you kind of what it is, but I will give you the setting that you want to have for shutter speed. Okay, what is shutter speed? Good question, Reagan. It's the length of time that the shutter allows light to pass through the sensor. The faster the shutter speed, the less motion blur. I could show you some examples of how we've utilized various shutter speeds for different artistic looks. So like in an action scene, who's seen Bourne Ultimatum? Or you name an action scene from any movie. Most of the times they will boost the shutter speed. It looks like the motion blur is a lot faster, right? So it's not going to be as blurry. You can see kind of really sharp edges to their hands and stuff. They did that so that it looks hyper real. It looks even faster than what it really is. It's pretty wild what you can do in your camera for different applications and different types of scenes, okay? So the standard though, what are the standard settings for shutter speed for video? All you need to know is double your frame rate, okay? So for example, if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, you'll see at the bottom left, and again, just Google where my shutter speed is on my camera, right? The bottom left usually is pretty typical. Double your frame rate. So 48, 1/48 would be double your frame rate. And that will give you the most natural motion blur, right? So you can see my hand blurring right now. That's natural. If you're shooting at 60 frames per second because you're making a soap opera, or if you want to slow down your video later, you want to shoot double that. What's twice 60? 120. So 1/120, okay? So I would just encourage you, double your frame rate, okay? Okay, so quickly, aperture. You're gonna have a lens that usually goes on your camera, right? And you'll see different things, like 1.4 is a super large aperture, okay? And it can go down to like an f8 or something like that, where there's just a tiny bit of light coming through to the sensor. There's different applications, different reasons why you would have these different like exposure settings, okay? And what they do is, so basically it's an f-stop. It opens, it expands the iris, the blades inside your lens, and it contracts, okay? So why would you change this? Why would you care about it? Besides altering the exposure, aperture also alters your depth of field. Have you ever watched a movie and you're like, why does my video not look like this movie? One is because these guys get paid a gazillion dollars, right? And two, oftentimes, if you want the filmic look, you want to shoot at the right frame rate. There's other aspects too. It has to do with lighting, which is something we are not going to talk about today, and audio, not going to talk about that today. It has to do with your aperture, right? So right here, you can see all the way in the back, these trees, they're in focus, right? So this could be like an f8 or something around there, right? Because you see everything in focus. How about this guy right here? That's the filmic look. When you're watching a movie, it looks beautiful. There's something going on here, right? The background is blurred and he is sharp, right? That's the filmic look. So if you want to immediately, this is the stupidest, trickiest way to make your videos look really professional. And on your phone, you have a portrait mode that kind of does this. So yeah, there might be something there. The easiest way to make your videos look way more professional than what they are, blur the background. So open your iris up to like a 2.8 or whatever you have available on your lens. Shoot at 24 frames per second, and you've immediately got a super filmic look, right? Okay, here's quick camera rules. This is very basic. We're just going really bird's eye view of filmmaking, okay? So quick camera rules, all right? So here's a couple different movies. Notice where they place the individuals in frame, okay? Sometimes you'll see a video where someone's standing right here, okay? Notice their heads aren't down here. They're right here on this third, right? So you have your upper third, and you have your left or right third. Look where his eye line is, right here. So this goes back to paintings back in the day. It goes back to a lot of theory that we are not going to talk about. But this is like for the most visually appealing images. A lot of interviews, we will frame a lot of our interviews just like this. So our subject is right here. Their eye line is on the top third and on the right or left third, right? And they're looking that way. Same thing here. Your eyes are looking this way. You're being directed towards the Joker. And then this is a very confrontational frame, right? You have two people that are playing chess, and they're looking directly at each other, and they're both on each side, each third. Isn't that interesting? There's also a really cool scene. Who likes Harry Potter in here? Okay, so Malfoy, we just saw, what's his name? Jason Isaac. We just saw him at GalaxyCon 2 days ago. That was pretty sick. But this guy who plays the bad guy, okay? So Harry Potter and the bad guy are meeting for the first time. This is not he who should not be named. This is Malfoy, okay? So we have bad guy here. We have Harry Potter here, okay? The camera, as soon as he walks in, goes like this. into a Dutch angle. It's called a Dutch angle. So it's tilted like this. One, the guy's taller than Harry Potter. And a lot of people think, oh, well, it's because he's taller and they're trying to adjust the frame. A Dutch angle, what does it do to you visually? It makes your head go like this. You're immediately off ease. You're immediately like, something's going on here that's not right. They've turned the world sideways, right? So in camera, you're making people feel this ugh feeling without even saying a word. This is camera, okay? I love this stuff, and we can talk about this stuff all day, but we should not. Okay, editing. Here's popular editing software. DaVinci Resolve is free, okay? Premiere Pro is what I use all the time. Jacob makes fun of me. CapCut. Cassie sings CapCut's praises. And then Instagram. Did you know you can edit video on Instagram? Wow, that's amazing. So all of these things you can download on your computer, on your phone, whatever that is. And I would encourage you just to start taking video. And we're going to talk very briefly, I know I'm running out of time, on a quick strategy. What could a strategy for you and your business look like, okay? So I cannot talk about how to edit a video. That is a different time for an entire week, all right? We cannot do that. I would encourage, this is part 2, yeah, this is a different lunch and learn. I would encourage you, whatever editor you find yourself working with, go to YouTube school. That's how I learned a lot of what I do, okay? Okay, so important notes. This is very important when you're making video, okay? Do not use other people's crap. Okay? Don't go online and steal stuff or steal a video that's not yours. And a lot of people don't know about any of this stuff, right? So, I got a hair in my mouth, so sorry. So some people will just repost, replay, all those different things. They're stealing other people's content. Don't do that. Only use music that you own the license to as well, okay? Now, there are some workarounds, and I will tell you. You can use music licensed through the social media pages. So did you know if you post on Instagram, you can click this music button and they have a giant library of other people's music. I mean, to me, it feels like all the music ever, but you can put the music in your video after you've edited, okay? So don't rip the music and then edit in your editor, okay? Easier way, better way, legal way is edit your video and then put the licensed music in. That's licensed through the social media, okay? So it's not on you at that point, okay? So many people though, I've gotten flagged back in my day, back in a long time ago, where I feel like, oh, I really like that song called blah, 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 blah. Takes it down. That's not yours, bro. You can also use, which is what we do, use content or music licensing companies like Artlist. We love Artlist. We use that stuff, that guy all the time. It's an amazing website. You pay a subscription. You can use all their music. You can use their stock footage. You can use all kinds of cool stuff. So make sure you own the rights to whatever you're putting out. That's very important. Okay, let's talk quick strategy. I know I have like 10 minutes. Okay, so when you're posting a video, okay, and again, we just went really overview of some settings, okay? I encourage you, don't just take what I just told you and try your best. Go learn it, right? Go to YouTube, figure all these different aspects of your camera. If you have a cell phone, honestly, I would encourage you just to start filming, right? Start filming content, but think about what you're filming first. So that's part of the strategy I'm about to talk about, okay? So in a typical funnel, there are different types of funnel, but in an awareness funnel, you would have your top of funnel here. This is when you post a video to social media, okay? And this is where most of us, we post a video to social media, we're like, oh, please someone watch it, okay? And that's all of us, okay? That hit hard for Cassie. So top of funnel, oh, please someone watch it, okay? And I'm gonna encourage you to utilize the algorithm. And this is all about how we create the content. It's also about utilizing ads. So the Facebook overlords, Meta, want you to spend money to get your video in front of people. So utilize that, and there's amazing ways to do that. I spent a lot of money to learn how to do it really, really well last year. Have I implemented it yet? No, I haven't had time for ourselves. So top of funnel, this is where you're gonna get probably, I don't know, 50 views, or hopefully thousands of views, or I don't know, it could go viral, you never know. But you're trying to funnel people in to ultimately convert them Whether that's, so for example, I'm gonna give you an example for a band. Bands have to treat their band like a business, okay? So we have awareness, we have interest, and we have conversion. Lots of people watching, little bits of people, new fan, new customer, okay? So here's a basic content strategy for a band. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Happy to hear some ideas. So start filming content, right? Just start filming. Record your live gigs, practice sessions, day in the life videos, music videos, anything that shows off your band or your brand, right? So just start gathering content. Then you're gonna edit some content, right? You're gonna clip some videos up into something eye-catching, like a quick reel, like a vertical reel. Hey guys, we're out here behind the scenes, blah, 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 blah. We're about getting ready for our new show tonight. Go check out our new single on blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is our awareness video. Then we send people, so use a link. Always, 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 always have something, a call to action or a link in the video that you post, right? There is benefit to just posting a video and just posting a photo because, like for example, we do a lot of content with D-Hard air conditioning, okay? You can put a video out and a year from now, someone who saw that video, their AC goes kaput. They're like, who was that I saw on Facebook? It was D-Hard air conditioning, right? So there's a memorable aspect, right? But you always want some sort of call to action in your video and in your posts. So always have a link to a website. For a band, it's new single link. Here's a new, or how about get your tickets now for our upcoming show, right? Have a link, a call to action. You're funneling people into interest. These are people that we're aware, now we're interested, and now we're converting, right? So ultimately at the very end, you create a call to action in this phase, come to our next show, stream our music, follow for updates. Could be any of those things, right? A band, a lot of times you're just trying to grow a page, trying to grow a fan base, right? So this is conversion. You're turning viewers into fans. Same thing, just replace some of this terminology for your business. That is a basic funnel strategy, okay? And then you just keep building content online. Consistency is key, okay? Because if you post, like for example, I did a commercial for a company back in like 2019, 2018. 4 years go by and they're like, Reagan, no one's watching our ad anymore. And I said, because you made it 4 years ago. No one cares at this point, right? Consistency is key. This is important for algorithm. This is important for search engine optimization. If you're dormant on your pages, Google thinks that you're no longer active, right? Social media, Facebook thinks that you're no longer active. Why would they promote you if you're not doing anything with it? Right, go ahead.
How many times is healthy? 3, 5, 7 every day?
I probably wouldn't be the best to ask that question, but I would say, one, you don't want to bombard people. But two, there's been a lot of studies, and I've done a little bit of research on this. Some people have done amazing things by posting multiple times a day. And other people have done, depending upon the content, great with a couple times a week, right? But I would say, find that happy place, right?
And you get a different audience. If you are going to post multiple times a day, you do get a different audience.
Yes.
Because I mean, you have your early risers that are.
Yep, absolutely.
And then you have your PMers that are after work,
That's
dinner,
me.
down.
Yeah.
So you will get a different audience. So I don't think posting, not that I'm a social media guru, trying to
Yeah, me neither.
But
Yeah.
if you are posting multiple times a day, I don't think you should do it multiple times consecutively. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not just like boom, boom, boom.
I was trying to launch her Facebook page /Instagram/website, and she was like, "Should we post like all at once?" And I was like, "Absolutely not."
Yeah.
You want to, like you said, you want to
Yes.
hook them,
Yes.
so they keep coming back for more. But
Yes.
you don't want to bombard them with too much information.
Yes, and make sure that content that you're putting out too is also telling your story, right? It's not the same thing over and over again, but you're leading people into about your brand, about what you do, about why you do what you do.
Yeah,
you know, why is it important?
Come here for different reasons. So in
Yeah.
my mind, I like the 3 or 4 times a week, and maybe start doing it in the morning and night. That way, it's not bombarding them, but
And if you
different
use
time.
Meta to schedule, they will give you times when you're out there and on your specific pages.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But most people will follow your page.
Yeah, they honestly would know more about like scheduling and things like that. But Meta does, like Meta Business Suite, you can look and see when it's optimal times and stuff like that. So that's great. So yeah, and honestly do some testing. Is multiple times a day working, or is it the one time a day that's doing better? So you're doing some testing. And then also with your ads too, you're doing A and B testing. What's my target audience? What's the demographic and all that stuff, okay? So like for example, you would create an awareness hook, an energetic clip from a recent video. You want to hook people in the first 3 seconds, really? Sometimes it's less. Like let's say for a band, it's an invite to an upcoming gig. So build a target audience, right? This is your demographic, your location, all these different aspects, then sponsor it as an ad to social media. So there's all kinds of things that you can do that are way Illuminati crazy in this. I've learned a lot of things and it's terrifying. I can tell you it's really terrifying how you can target people. And you would target people and then you can retarget the people that you targeted. The people that engaged and clicked on your video, you can retarget those people, but that's a whole different lunch and learn, okay? So, for example, yeah, maybe a lot more than that. So, but for basic awareness, you want to put some money on your main video. So I have a lot of people that are, I'll make a video for a marketing director, and they're like, well, what do I do? It's like, that's on you, bro. But I can help you. I can give you some input, but that's on you. It's how you implement the video that is very important. Now, creating the video is also extremely important because you want to make sure you're telling the right story, you're conveying the brand properly, all those different aspects. I promise we're almost done. For example, this isn't the same in the band theme, okay? Look at these. This was on my page. I screenshotted it. What the heck? All of these sponsored. That was in a period of 5 minutes. Okay? How did they know to target me? I'm in a band. I like music. These people freaking stole everything about me, and then they targeted me, those turds. But you guys can do that too, right? That's how you get on people's pages, in front of people. So do your research. What are successful companies doing? Look at other companies that have to do with what you're doing. What are they up to? So recap, think about pacing, audience, context, relevance, and interest whenever you're creating content. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. Sorry, I gotta leave.
Oh, it's all good. I'm long-winded. So it is vital to recognize bad editing too. So why are you scrolling? Why are you going past this video or that video, right? What are the videos that are attracting you, okay? Unprofessional videos make you look unprofessional. So don't just put content out to put content out. Make sure it reflects the quality of your business. And if you're unable to do that at a certain quality, I'm right here. Okay? That's what we do every freaking day. Know your way around your camera and your editor, whether that's your cell phone or that's DSLR. Okay? Think through strategy, your awareness, interest, and your conversion. So when you're creating content, how am I going to get people's attention? What is my call to action to get people interested in what I do? Where are they going? Are we clicking on the website? Are we clicking on new gig coming up? What are those things, right? And how are we converting? You want to turn viewers into customers. That's why we make video. And I mean, you want to tell your story, obviously, but you're telling your story so that people will gain trust. People will trust you. And if they trust you, they'll buy from you. Any questions? Cool. All right.